Yeah. Paradise Valley podcast. We are back. 2021 season is ready, and I am joined here by my co-host, Pat Jamross.
What's up, Valley? Glad to be back.
I like that slide. It wasn't on Chris's level, but it'll do.
We're getting there.
I like it. Joined it from GB by our producer, Dappy and D Brown.
Yo, we're back for another season, boys.
Feels good. It feels good. How we doing, gentlemen?
Long drive here. We're doing good. Yeah, Dappy just had a couple roadblocks on the way here, but he's fought through traffic, and we're ready for a show.
Great game last night. What a start to the season. I mean, I only had my kicker, but just watching football was electric, and having some fantasy implications going against this guy, it felt good.
It felt like every TD last night affected the Valley too, except the Gronk ones. It was good to see.
Oh yeah,
but they still affected D. So every TD mattered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, two big Paradise Valley podcast matchups this week to start it off.
Like you said, good to have Ball back and fucking being here against my opponent. Like you guys are in person, it's a little tough, especially after his wide receiver one drops 30, fucking almost 40.
Shout out,
but hey, we're back. We're ready for another season. We're strapped up. Let's get it.
Yeah, I think you guys are still, your projections are tied right now, so it's going to be a battle.
Definitely.
Could get tensious here on the podcast today, but let's get into it. We're going to start off with one big take from each of the hosts, just kind of football wide. I can start us off. I was looking at some stuff earlier, and just the numbers from last year, 2020 was quite the high. It was the highest scoring season ever. Let's see. The number was 12,692 total points scored in the NFL last year. First time they ever went over 12,000. They were over 12,000, almost 700. So huge scoring season. Probably two reasons for that mostly is, I mean, obviously, some of the penalties and stuff that have come in to favor offenses is one thing, but I think the big thing 2020 specific was probably no fans, and then the lack of practice and really getting the defenses schemes ready to go. I know defenses probably aren't too happy with that stat. I think this season is going to be a little bit less high scoring. Last night, obviously, was a high scoring battle, but I don't think we're going to be setting that record. Maybe we'll break 12,000, but I think it might be a little bit more of a test of the defenses and a little bit more less scoring in fantasy. But that's my one thing to look out for. Anyone else got anything?
So it's going to go over 12,000, but that's just because there's the added game this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Average-wise, I bet it'll be down as well. Fans in the stadium. Think about Seattle, like that place bumping. Like as a road team, it's going to be tough for an offense.
Even last night, you could start to hear it, and there wasn't too many points scored in the second half there, the fourth quarter. So
yeah, they started to figure it out for sure. But you know me, I'm a Valley historian, and the last 2 years. I think this is pretty well known, but the last 2 years, the same four guys have made the playoffs, and then Caleb, Kirch, and C. Mack have made it the last 3 years. So I think that's tough to see, and my take is that at the most, only one of them make it this year. I think it's going to be a shakeup. Not hopeful about Lane getting an appearance there, but I think the three of us on the pod, maybe the Sandman, maybe Sheehan sneaks in. We have a little change up in the league, some fresh blood in the playoffs, some new excitement there. So I think we have maybe Caleb or Kirch sneaks in, but I think no way Dim or C-Mac make it after the draft.
I didn't realize that stat. That's insane.
I know. That's a pretty crazy stat.
What about you, D. Brown? You got anything for us?
I didn't get to do too much research. I had a busy day, but just after hearing what's been talked about here so far, I mean, this is obviously it's a homer pick, but like Ross was saying, I mean, Ross, when's the last time you were in the playoffs? It's been a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, it was what? The last time I was in it, I won it, and that was back when I was a senior in college, so 4 years ago. So it's been a minute.
Been a while.
And twice I've lost on the last week of the season. So it's Miles Sanders still stings heavy in this heart.
Definitely. After the draft, it looks 10-team league. And then after the draft, a couple of people had, it's starting to kind of look like an 8-team league with Joe Dim and Lane's squads. I mean, obviously Lane's with the injuries, but Joe Dim's squad was kind of getting shit on early. And then Mike Evans comes up, and it looks like Brady might have too many weapons for Evans or one of the wideouts to be the set wideout one. So it's like I'm already counting Lane out of it, and now I'm kind of crossing Dimmer out of it. I know we were going to have Dimmer on the show, but it's looking like maybe we got 8 competitive teams, and I'm going to say that this is the year that I make it and win my first playoff game.
I like
That's my take. That's a homer pick. That's my take. And then also going with Dappy, with the draft that Dapp had, I think Dappy's definitely going to be sneaking into the playoffs. So Dappy, I was asking him, I think he said it's been like years since he's been in there. So.
I think it's been like since freshman year in college. And it was my only appearance.
Yeah, I think Dapp, Lane only have 1 and the Sandman have 0. Everyone else I believe
I'm pretty
has.
Sure I lost that one appearance by like 40 points.
So yeah, just to piggyback off Ross with some new fresh faces in there, but I think 2 of them are going to be, one of them is going to be Dapp and one of them is going to be me winning my first playoff game.
I like that, but I don't think it's going to be true. We'll see though. I will say I like Dapp's draft, but let's use that. Let's get into the draft. Let's talk about it. What'd you guys think? D Brown, you were just talking about Joe and Lane. I will say I did like Dapp's draft. I liked Kirch's draft. I liked my draft. But any insights, anything you guys want to go off of? I know we're going to talk about best worst picks, but
I mean, we've kind of talked about it a lot actually in the group, but I don't know what Lane Grogan is thinking. He kind of sat on that couch the other day and judged a lot of people's picks, but he should have took a look in the mirror. He already had Devontae Adams lined up in the 3rd round, which is probably going to be a top 5, if not number 1 wideout in fantasy this year. And he goes Kelsey, which is like, okay, you got the number 1 tight end. But everyone knows how important running backs are in fantasy football. And he just decided to go Ridley, who's a good player, but I think he could have went for an RB1 there. He probably doesn't end up going Gus Edwards later in the draft, which his whole fortunes could be different. So I think he thinks about that number 12 pick for a while, if not the whole season.
I think he fucked up I don't think C-Mac takes Kelsey there. Actually, I know C-Mac doesn't take Kelsey there because he told me the night before he was taken there. So I think it was a mistake to take Kelsey at 9, could have waited until 12 and then grabbed Najee Harris right there.
Yep.
Maybe Kelsey falls, but hey, if you get him at 12, great. If not, life goes on.
I think Kelsey would have slipped a little bit. If Lane didn't pick him there, he probably would have slid a little bit towards the back end of the 2nd round.
I thought there was an outside chance I get him in the 2nd round. I wasn't hopeful for it, but I was saying like maybe there's a 10% chance I get him.
I mean, Lane's kind of like his strategy is based on like he does follow a lot of the experts, and a lot of the experts, especially in PPR, half PPR, they always say Kelsey's a great 1st round pick, but I don't know, not to me. I mean, at least in our league, not with the way everyone eats up the RBs. So
yeah, no, I feel that. Another interesting thing for me, like just thinking about the keepers and how that changed the draft around, like it definitely made it tougher to mock. I know everyone was talking about how they were doing mocks of just like with our keepers set, just kind of thinking who people would pick. And it really, I think, switched it up, made for an interesting draft. Like I know me being around the corner, I was thinking a lot about Sheehan, what he was going to do, what Dappy was going to do. Thought there was a little bit more strategy, and I think that's what we wanted to do when we originally put in keepers. So I liked it. We'll see how it plays out going forward, but I think so far so good.
Agreed. I was against the whole having it be the value that it was at last year instead of the value that they were projected at this year, but I liked it. I think, like you said, it was tough to prepare, especially where I was at 15, and I think there was 4 or 5 players that would have gone before me that had to be kept. So I just had to prepare, and I ended up getting Mixon. I know a lot of hate for Mixon, but I wanted him there, and I'm expecting a big year out of him. I think I guess I don't want to harp on Lane's draft anymore. I was going to talk about the QBs, but
what about talking about QBs, D Brown? I want your reaction to me picking Mahomes.
When did you get him?
22nd overall.
3rd round.
I mean, my thing with Mahomes is he's a beast for sure. He's a stud. But it's like last year in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, 9 points. Is he going to be able to keep up when he came into the league? Is he going to be able to sustain that level of fantasy production? Or maybe is Mahomes kind of like slipping back to like the QBs that are not worth that type of pick. I mean, that's an early pick for a QB, but when it's Mahomes right now, it's obviously justifiable.
I mean, he's got a brand new offensive line, completely new.
That's true, too.
With 3 guys on it who have never taken an NFL snap.
That is true. I'm pretty sure, all
Shout
5
out
of them.
PMT.
But I mean, when it's
PMT, just do it on the way here.
I mean, when it's Mahomes and you got Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, obviously you're like, you can justify picking them whenever. But it's like in our league, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe he slips back to the pack of like he's not the clear-cut number 1 or 2 QBs in fantasy, but we'll see.
Yeah, I just looking at my options there. I could have taken like Keenan Allen or Terry McLaurin, but I was like, fuck it. I'll find some good wide receivers later. Whoa, we got a TV on in the building. We're gonna shut that off real quick.
Tells me he's gonna book.
Let's jump into best and worst picks. So let's you guys think about it at all? I've got some written down for who I was gonna go with. All right, I'm going
for it.
Best picks. I'm actually gonna have 2 best picks, 2 worst picks, both in the same rounds at the same position, all running backs. My 2 best picks of the draft, I'm going to go round 10, give Lane a little bit of credit here. Feel free to scroll through that. Zach Moss went in early 10th round, and then Jamal Williams went to Dappy late in the 10th round. I think those are 2 really solid depth running backs. DeAndre Swift, we'll talk about him later. I'm not a fan of him this year. I don't think he's going to hold it together. I mean, he's hurt already, not looking great, might be limited, might play this week, but I think Jamal Williams going to do well this year. And Zach Moss, I mean, Josh Allen can't score all those rushing touchdowns. He's going to do something. I'm not impressed by Singletary. Let's see what Moss has. But in the 10th round, love both of those picks.
Charles, I'm looking at the big board right now, and I really like what you did from round 6 on, just from hitting your depth. Like, I really like your late round picks a lot. From round 6 to like 11.
I felt good about it.
Logan Thomas, Deebo Samuel, Corey Davis, Robbie Anderson. Then you got Mostert and Darrell Henderson. That's some good picks right there. I like what you did round 6 to 11, big time.
Most nervous about Logan Thomas, to be honest, but
really, I was going to say that. I mean, obviously, it's tough to have my best pick be a tight end, but just looking at your roster, I think compared to where the other tight ends were going, I think he could be a tight end 1.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like his upside, but I think he's a little injury prone. But
yep, definitely.
We'll see.
I think I got my worst pick.
Let's hear it.
Dim Dog's going with Robert Tonyan in the 67th pick.
I don't know if that's the worst thing. What about me taking Kyle Pitts a little way earlier than that?
Yeah,
but it's Pitts. He has upside, but he's never played a game in the league. And then I get off.
He's a stud rookie.
He is, but post draft, I see on ML or NFL Network rookie tight ends. There's only one rookie tight end in NFL history that's gone for over 1,000 yards. I mean, obviously 1,000 yards is a lot for a tight end, and that was Mike Ditka on the Bears. Only rookie tight end in history for 1,000 yards is Ditka. Other than that, all the guys on the list were like low 800s and like. So I mean, once I saw that, I'm like my expectations were a little bit lower, but then I'm like Pitts is a beast, so we'll see. But I picked him a little early.
The last two tight ends that were rookies to do well in the last like 25 years or so, get close to 800, 900 yards, were Evan Ingram and Jeremy Shockey, both Giants.
Wow.
Dope fact.
I bet today.
I think I don't know if it's the best pick, but I love the value. I was hoping to get him a couple picks later was Dap getting Jalen Hurts pretty late in the draft. I think he really slid compared to where the experts had him and where he was going in a lot of different drafts. Yeah, round 13. And I can see him being Dap starting QB in a couple of weeks. I like Herbert. He's good, but he feels like he's due for a little slip off of what he was producing last year. And I feel like the Eagles are going to be bad. They're going to be down. He's going to be getting garbage time, fantasy points. He's going to be running the ball. I could see a lot of value being there. And I think this just goes back to Lane. He let Hurts.
He let him slide. He let him slide for so long. And I was finally like, I looked at him and I was like, I'm not letting you get him now. And I just took him.
I will say this though, because I really do. I do like what you said about that, Ross. Like Hurts has Matt Berry is calling him potential for number one QB in fantasy. He has he could be a fantasy god. But
I don't think he's that good. Like as a QB, like he's still like he had like a 50% completion percentage, but I think the Eagles get down big every week, and it's like soft coverage, and Hurts just gets a lot of fantasy points.
Who's he throwing it to, though? We'll see. I mean,
Devontae Smith, who's freaking the best college receiver all time, Devontae Smith. Now he's got 2 decent tight ends, Goddard and Hurts. And then, I mean, we'll see Jalen Reagor. But last year, it was only Jalen Reagor. So, I mean, that's why his passing stats weren't that good. But
yeah,
I think his passing stats go up. But my only thing with that, Ross, with you saying that Dappy has good value and he could end up having – that could be his QB1. My only thing – is he kind of did invest in Herbert a little early, so that's going to make it tough for Dappy to be like, well, what do I do with Herbert? Do I really play Hurts over him? Because what pick was Herbert?
63.
So it's like, I mean, he was going when people were picking their QB1s, their early QB1s, like in the first batch of QBs. So it's like
he's like 5th or 6th QB probably.
I wanted the Herbert
but that's also because Dappy wasn't probably envisioning him getting Hurts when he did. And so he's like, I'm not he's taking him now, but when's he going to play him? And that's my thing. What's he going to do with Herbert?
All right, let's switch gears, talk about some worst picks here. I can start us off. I think the theme here is pretty obvious. Like we've talked about it a little bit, or at least hinted at it. The Valley goes for running backs early. And I think there's a little bit of a side effect in round 2, running backs, people getting like a little desperate. And I think James Robinson and Miles Sanders are both stretches. I don't think they're early second round running backs. I think they're late second, early third. And even then, I just personally am not a big fan of them. So I seen both of those picks, was a little bit surprised. Like James Robinson, I could see the upside, but I just thought it was early. Miles Sanders, I don't know. I don't know what to expect of that offense. I could be wrong, but just second round, it feels like a lot could go wrong. And you need your second round pick. So I thought those were kind of 2 residual shit. I need a running back. I'm going with this guy picks.
Charles says, I mean, it's notoriously true, too, that the Valley does eat up the running backs. Only one person this year picked 3 RBs straight. Only one person, and that was Ross.
Yep. I love it. I had AJ Brown as a wide receiver 1 locked in, and I've had success picking 3 running backs straight. Kirch has had success doing it. I think if you hit good, and I think I love Carson in the 3rd pick, but for my worst pick, I don't think it's one individual. I think it's a combination of the running backs that went in the 4th round. I think people got a little bit desperate with Damian Harris, Dim Dogs with Myles Gaskin, Sandman with Chase Edmonds. I think there was still quality wide receivers on the board there, and Cooper, Lockett, Thielen, Cooper Kupp, guys like that where Julio. I just felt, even now that I'm looking at it, Odell felt like a little bit of a reach for the Sandman there, but
Edmonds and OBJ there.
I think that's part of my strategy where if you don't get couple like 2 solid, if not 3, you get a little bit desperate in those middle rounds. And the Damian Harris one, I think the Pats backfield's really crowded. I can even see Stevenson ending up with the starting job. Gaskins just doesn't do it for me. He was, I don't know. I feel like can't think of the coach's name. Former Pats coach is Flores, very similar to Belichick, likes a lot of running backs. So I don't love those. I mean, I could for sure be wrong, but it just felt like a reach there for a couple of those guys. And Edmonds was a change of pace guy, and now all of a sudden Sandman thinks he's going to be this bell cow in Arizona. I just don't see that happening at all. I wouldn't say those are my worst picks, but I just not doing research and Caleb running through the draft board to our left. Those are ones that stood out to me.
Yep. All right, let's move on from the draft, but overall, great to have everyone here, or most people here, and always fun. Looking forward to a good season. Let's talk about week 1 matchups. Who wants to get us started?
I'll get us going. Let's talk about the 2 guys on the other screen here who put on an absolute show Thursday night. And if projections hold up, look like they're not only going to be battling for the win, but also for the $50 payout. And it's like Father Time never catches up with Tom. He looked great. Even a couple of his picks were bullshit. One was a Hail Mary. The other one was a drop pass. So that would have put him at 31 points. And let's see what CMC's got. He's back. Is he going to put up another 20, 30 point round to really put the Rockers over the edge. D Brown investing heavy in the Carolina offense with DJ Moore there. And obviously we've talked about Pitts earlier. And then Dap gets maybe the top wide receiver performance of the week on Thursday night. I don't love Jonnu Smith. I think that's kind of a crowded tight end room in New England. And also it just feels like a run heavy offense. Don't love Mike Davis either. We'll see what happens there, but he's got his 2 bell cows with Henry and Chubb, and we'll see if he goes with Herbert over Hurts. You feel like you gotta, like D said, where he picked him. D's got the lead, but I think I give the edge to Dap just with 32 out of Cooper and what could be a high scoring game in Tennessee with Arizona, and then another high scoring game in KC with Chubb. So I think Dap edges this one out, and like I said, it's going to be between probably the top 2 for highest scorer right now.
I like that Mike Davis spot. Like
both our flexes are up for grabs.
Mine might go to Julio.
Who would you slide in, D?
Devontae. But it's most likely going to be Damian week 1. But the Dolphins D scares me. I mean, it does. Dolphins D is nice.
All right. Yeah, I think this is going to be a close one. I do like C-Dap there, though.
I told Dappy earlier, I was texting him, I was like, it's going to be fun owning the Cowboys wideouts this year.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they pass as much as they did last night just because of how good the Bucs D is.
Vita Vea is a beast.
Spot.
All right, D.
Which one we going on next?
You're just doing
We're doing 3 out of 5 this year. We're not going to hit all 5. We're going to.
Is there anyone's up here? No. All right, I'm going to hit up. We'll take you guys right here. So we'll go with Charles had Suck Up last night. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Suck Up's nice, dude. There was somebody, who was it? One of the analysts. It was Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, Stephen A. Smith is such a clown. He's like, Tom Brady marches all the way down the field, hands the ball over to some guy named Brian Suck Up to hit the game-winning field goal. It's like, Suck Up's a pretty good kicker, and he's been a solid kicker, but
that's how football works, Stephen A.
But, literally, I'm like, dude, Stephen A. is just a clown. But I didn't know that you had Suck Up last night. But this is definitely going to be a good matchup. I mean, it's one of the top rivalries in the league. I agree, Ross. I love where you got Chris Carson. I think he's RB2 material, and you got him like, what, 3rd or 4th round?
3rd round, yep.
3rd round. So, I mean, he's definitely going to, in my mind, RB2, and you got him for your flex. So, Ross has got the 3-headed monster at RB, and he's going to run with it. We'll see what Saquon's pitch count is going to be. Maybe Dap's got any insight on that.
I mean, it's not supposed to be full this week.
But, I mean, I do like Ross's team. He's got Kyler Murray, who before he kind of got hurt last year and kind of got a little figured out maybe passing-wise, he was a stud. He was basically an RB1 and a QB just in one. So I like Murray's potential. I like Ross's RBs if they can stay healthy. Mixon, I've never been a fan of Mixon, but we'll see what Burrow can do with that Bengals offense. Ross has got some stud wideouts. He's got Woods with Stafford this year. A.J. Brown should have another big year. I would probably leave
Woods versus Cup. Classic matchup right there.
We had Cooper versus Lamb, and then we got Cup versus Woods here. So
Woods is not guaranteed.
Whatever wide out there scores more to get the win. I'm gonna lean towards Ross getting this win here, but I do like Charles' top 3 of Mahomes, Kamara, and Taylor. That's definitely a pretty lethal top 3.
And
Jefferson, if he can repeat what he did last year and stay, he had a shoulder injury, so we'll see what he does. But I definitely like the state of Ross's lineup heading into week 1 just a little more.
Fuel my tank, bitch.
But Charles' top 3,
I don't love Saquon this week.
Top 3 is nice.
I think if he had his full workload, I love where I'm at. But I like my team a lot, but feed Saquon. He's good. It's been almost a year.
With that Denver D, Von Miller coming around and sticking him.
Von Miller's washed up.
8 rushes, 4 yards, 1 catch, -2 yards.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna hit on Lane and Sandman. I think we have 2 dudes who have some pressure to perform this year. Like if they don't, there's just going to start to become I think there already is a stigma around Lane of not being a performer in the Valley, and I think that's going to become a thing with the Sandman, despite all the talk, if he continues to not put up. Obviously, a decent performance out of Dak last night, but Zeke, tough run D, kind of evens out there. I feel like We'll see. Both these guys with their flexes, Deontay Johnson and Laviska Shenault, I don't feel comfortable starting either of those guys really in week 1. So we'll see if they stick with both of them. But overall, looking at Lane's team, it's hard to say I'm going to give him the advantage starting Ryan Fitzpatrick, DeAndre Swift, who's questionable or, maybe limited, Kareem Hunt against KC. He may be catching a lot of balls. We'll see though. And then obviously Ridley and Adams are great, and Kelsey. But besides that, I don't see a lot of potential for Lane's team. And I think Sandman has got Waller. He's got CEH. I like CEH this year. Terry, I think, is going to have a really good year. Kind of eat up some of those points that Fitzy could put up. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Sandman. I just, like we've been hitting. I don't think any of us are really impressed by Lane's team, and I could see this being a 95-85 win for Sandman.
Wow. Real low scoring.
Oh, yeah, low scoring.
Off with a 27-point performance from his QB.
RB1, RB5, less than
nothing,
5, 4.9. That's tough to overcome. But I do like Wolf Squad. The rest of it is, we'll see. Can OBJ get back to himself?
I don't get how Lane's projected 109.
He's got good pass catchers, but
they are projected high.
He does have good pass catchers, but his RBs are weak. If Swift can have a fucking season, he might be able to help Lane out, save him, but it's looking tough for Lane's RB room.
All right. I think we got over-unders, and then we'll wrap it up.
I think Ross was first for overs, yeah.
Rossi, the boss?
I'm going with George Kittle. I think the talk this offseason has not been around him being one of the top 2 tight ends in the league. I think they've been really hyping up Waller and obviously Kelsey. And in my opinion, Kittle is the all-around best tight end. Obviously, blocking doesn't come into play for fantasy, but I think Detroit sucks. I think the Niners blow them out. And I think Kittle finds himself in the end zone with maybe 5 or so catches, 100 yards. I think he goes off for a big game.
Best tight end in the league. Fucking someone remember that one so we can call him out week 8.
Let's stay in San Fran. Let's stay in that same game. Just for the record, be known, I picked this game first. Then Ross was like, "Oh, the Lions D. Let's jump on that." No, I'm just kidding. But I'm really high on all of San Fran's pass catchers this year, especially at the slot. Y'all got Debo. I was trying to get Debo this year. I'm high on Debo big time, but I'm high on all the pass catchers big time for San Fran. But AU week 1 against the Lions. That's right. It's against the Lions. Yep, against the Lions, 11.7. I just think that he's taking a big leap. He was already taking a leap last year, and he was becoming a stud for them. And I think he takes a big leap this year, 11.7. I think he ends up with in the 16s.
I like that. All right, my pick is not a Niner, but I did go with them in my survivor pool, so it is what it is. I'm on them as well. I think they're going to crush the Lions. Anyways, Lamar, 22-2. He's going to go over that because who the hell else is going to run the football for the Ravens? They've got
he has to. Monday night.
Dobbins, Hill, Edwards, boom, bang, bomb, gone. It's just, I don't know what else they're going to do. So,
hey, look out. Trev beat everyone to Latavius Murray, RB1.
I like Murray a lot. I think he's going to be better than either Bell or Freeman. How many teams has he practiced for or try out for? It's like he's like, please give me a contract. I worry for the man's money issues or something. Like, he really wants a contract. Anyways, Raiders are going to score some points too. I think it's going to be a high-scoring Monday Night Football game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Lamar. Well, I don't really necessarily want Kirsch to win, but looking forward to hitting my over and him sailing past at least for 30.
I'd rather see Kirsch win than Mac.
Yeah, true. I forgot. I didn't realize who was playing. Good matchup there. We didn't hit it, but just for time reasons, trying to speed things up.
It'd almost be sweet if Lamar was the one to take C-Mac down week 1.
Yeah. Whose under is this?
This is me. Yeah, I'm going with David Montgomery. We'll stick with the Happy Land Trippers. I think he's on some streak of 6 games, a bunch of yards, a bunch of touchdowns. I think that comes to a halt on Sunday Night Football. I think he had it was just like the perfect combination of an easy schedule. The Bears really feeding him the ball. I think Andy Dalton in prime time. The Rams are actually my survivor pick. I think it gets ugly. I think Montgomery gets shut down. That whole offense gets shut down. I'm not high on him on a player. Nothing really impressed me until that 6-game stretch. So I'm going under 13 and even under. He's going single digits easily.
Wow.
This is one of my big, like, what's he going to do this year player. Could go a lot of ways. D Brown, what you got?
I got Brandon Cooks. He's with the 10.2. Wideout 1 apparently for the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor, QB, playing against the Jags. But so what? Jags actually have a sneaky good corner. And it's like Brandon Cooks, I mean, apparently, like, obviously not comparable with David Montgomery, but at the end of last season, I was looking at Cooks, his stats for last year, and he actually had a decent year towards the end of the year. He was like getting fed, I guess, was he in the Texans? Was he in the Texans last year?
Yeah, he was in the Texans last year.
Watson was just feeding him because he was putting up numbers, but I think this year that's going to change. He's got Tyrod Taylor, QB1, and I think he's going under 10.2.
I feel that. All right, my under here, last under of the day. God, watching this, looking at this picture reminds me of week 1 last year, Sunday. Just looking forward to it. I'm so ready. But
I remember this, that picture.
Yeah, remember that with like 30 seconds left. Swift had a ball beautifully placed by Stafford right in the end zone, dropped. I was with some Lions fans, me and Dappy were, and they were going crazy. Didn't realize he dropped it. Anyways, 11-6. Hasn't been healthy, playing the Niners. Their D was really unhealthy last year, but they are back, and I think they're going to be really nice. 11.6. I don't know. I feel like he's got to fall into the end zone and hit that, and they may not score a touchdown. So I'm going here. I don't like Swift this year, and I feel bad. We've really harped on Lane. But,
yeah. I think he's
nothing personal, man. Nothing personal.
Like I said, beginning, like at the end of the draft, I was like, this is an 18 league now. I'm like, it's an 18 league.
I think Dim he has the potential. Lane, if he's in the playoffs, I will say this right now, week 1, I will personally give Lane $100 if he makes the playoffs.
Wow. Ross, he's got some sneaky pass catchers. He's maybe a trade for an RB1 away from.
I mean, he just said, 40% chance that he makes the playoffs, and Ross with nothing to gain from it.
I'm that confident.
Ross,
I know how the guy manages his teams. You look at DeAndre Swift last year, the guy was just sitting in waivers. I picked him up. He was hurt a lot, but he was productive when he played. And it's like you find good running backs and you hold on to them. And it just seems like the guy doesn't get it. And he'll be stubborn. He won't make a trade until he's out of it. He's taking the torch from Dap of laughing stock of the league. So
right when Hall says we're ranking on him enough, we just keep pouring it on.
Yeah, Ross had to get that in there. I didn't need to add on to it there, but
Brandon Cooks' numbers here from last year: 1,150 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like that was. Look at these numbers. 34.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, even towards the beginning.
His last 2 games, 34 fantasy points, 23, like consistent last year,
wow.
Brandon Cooks, but not this year.
That's your under. So good research beforehand.
I mean, hey,
that's all we got, boys. Looking forward to the season. Good being back with you guys. Any last words from y'all?
No.
Go Cobras.
You boys in the loft.
Ready for a good season.
Let's go week 1, baby. Here we go.